Hello everyone and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy 3-5 Part 2-1 Trial. Get me in here, let's go. We are finishing this game today no matter how long it takes. I don't know how much we have left. I know that 2-4 was very long, but we already got through the first investigation day for 3-5 here, so I'm hoping we can get done in about 5 to 6 hours, fingers crossed. I'm gonna be straight up with y'all. If I get really stuck on something for more than just a couple of minutes, I'm probably just gonna ask chat to point me in the right direction, because I don't want to get stuck on like one section of a trial or an investigation and it adds like an extra 10-20 minutes when I'm determined to play the game until it's done today. So I'm only gonna ask chat if I like really get stuck on something, but I'm also not gonna, if I start to get stuck, I'm not gonna wait before asking chat. I'm just gonna ask chat to give me a heads up. But anyways, here we go. Oh my, Mr. Larice feels that way about me? Apparently, he isn't aware of your real secret at all. This is no time to be embarrassed. I'm sorry. I'm just hardly accustomed to that sort of thing. Worry not, and in any case, whatever it was that he saw on the night of the incident, mark my words, I will drag it out of him. Does that mean Mr. Larice is the witness today? No. I believe that none will be the first to take the stand. Sister Bikini, what an awful name. She claims to have seen the very instant in which you carried out the crime. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Miss Elise Denham, correct? That is correct. It wasn't me. Very well then. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes? You're a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed, don't worry, I've made the necessary arrangements. I see. Iris, it is a prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I am a defense attorney. A defense attorney's job is to believe in people, and to believe until the bitter end. That's what my friend told me once. Mr. Edgeworth, I simply ask that you watch and decide for yourself whether or not I am fit to do the task I've been entrusted. Very well, sir. I leave my defense in your capable hands. Here we go. Let's pop off. Edgeworth! Yo, oh my goodness, it's the Canadian. Why? I like the other judge better. Court is now in session for the trial of Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The defense does indeed appear to be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution in this case. Indeed. I'm not sure I like such a blatant waste of this court's time. An empty prosecutor's chair can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove their case. It would seem this case is already over before it had a chance to begin. I'm ready to announce my verdict at this time. This court finds the defendant— Wait, seriously? Like, come on, dude. Come on. Just a second, I gotta hit something over here. There we go, that's better. That's better. Alright. Oh my goodness, they brought back Franziska. The prosecution stands ready. And you are? Franziska von Karma, prosecuting prodigy. Is this gonna be another case of us cheating the court system where we're both on the same side? Von Karma, you say? Perchance you wouldn't be of any relation to the legendary prosecutor Manfred von Karma? Legends are a thing of the past. I am a von Karma, that is all. Upon a special request words, I flew in today for the purpose of prosecuting this case. Alright, Edgeworth getting von Karma to show up is pretty cool, to be honest, not gonna lie. You did? Then you must be quite a big shot, eh? By the way, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. I'm almost certain I've seen you somewhere before. Or am I just imagining things? You look very much like a prosecutor I met once. I believe you're imagining things, Your Honor. Miss Von Karma, do you have anything to say? There's no such weakling as this man among those of the prosecutor's office. There isn't, but I'm sure once before in this courtroom— Ah! I told you there is no such weakling. What is that, a whip? I'm not sure I care for such a thing in my courtroom. Bailiff, remove that whip at— I have no objection to the whip. Franziska was like, all right, Edgeworth, I'll help you, but only on one condition. I get to use the whip. You don't? Prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee. But there's still only one truth. And that is what I stand here to prove today. This promises to be interesting, Miles Edgeworth. I had expected to face Phoenix Wright here today. But looking at you now, maybe this is what I've been waiting for all this time. Did they realize that after they completely screwed over Franziska's character in Justice for All, they wanted to give her another shot at the end of Trials and Tribulations? Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you slip through my fingers. I see you brought your flair for the histrionic. Allow me to add to the things I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my court. Oh! The stage is set. Now continue with the proceedings, Your Honor. Very well. Miss Von Karma, please give an outline of this case. With as little whipping as possible. Kia, welcome to stream. The murder victim is the famed picture book author, Miss Elise Denham. Yeah, she's dead as heck. Her body was found in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue. The sword in this picture is the weapon in question, correct? Very well. The court accepts this photo of the crime scene. Alright, so we have a crime photo now. There's no mistake, this was the doing of Sister Iris. After all, there's a witness to her crime. Very well. Please bring this witness to the stand. And so it begins. What all do I have? Okay, we only have about a page and a half of stuff. We just streamed this. No, it was like 3 or 4 days ago. Yeah, we did this on Wednesday. But it was like a 6-hour stream, so it's hard to keep it all in my head. So we have the crime photo they just gave us. Elise's autopsy report cause, loss of blood from stab in the back, body fell 10 feet after death. Okay. Right. Body fell 10 feet after death? But the statue is holding the sword. Shouldn't she have fallen and then been stabbed? Or was the sword put into her back afterwards? Iris's testimony, rang lights out bell at 10 p.m. and was then in her room until the murder was discovered. Right, okay. I'm trying to remember, because it was Larry, right? Larry sent her a love letter that she thought was a blackmail letter, and so she stayed in her room afraid or something. The magic bottle. Okay, this is just a picture of Elise. I remember we saw this staff, and the purple gem on the staff was missing, so that's probably going to come into play at some point. Does it actually show that in the crime photo? Does not show her staff in the crime photo. All right. An occult magazine. Yeah. That's what showed Iris, who looks like Dahlia, which is why Phoenix wanted to go there. Regional weather report for the night of the crime. Eagle Mountain. Data for February 7th. Snow with occasional lightning. Snow from 7 to 10:50 p.m. Lightning from 10 to 11 p.m. Lightning struck Dusky Bridge at 10:45. Around 30 minutes passed between the fire starting and going out. Okay. Inner Temple, you can see the bridge from Heavenly Hall. I remember we had to figure that out. You cannot see the bridge or anything from Hazakura Temple. Yep. Note to Iris. This is the blackmail that's a love letter or whatever. Iris's hood. She received before the lights out bell the night of the crime. She gave this to Phoenix, right? And then Phoenix gave it to us. Misty Fey, master of the crane technique, which was at the temple, yada yada. Apparent murder weapon has the victim's blood and the suspect's fingerprints. I guess this has Iris's fingerprints on it, and it has the blood of what's-her-face. Elise Denham, when she was alive, has her fingerprints on it. The victim's staff. It is missing the orb, and then this stuff. Alright, and then Franziska's here. 19. My mentor, Manfred von Karma's daughter. Born and raised in Germany. Prosecutor at 13. Alright, Phoenix, he's hospitalized right now. My boy Dick Gumshoe! Best boy! Maya, she's trapped at the Inner Temple. Pearl was apparently with the victim at the time of the crime, currently missing. Oh, right, Pearl is missing. I forgot about that. Okay. Godot, prosecutor, has a grudge against Wright, like 99.99999 repeating % certain that he's Diego. Head nun of Hazakura discovered the murder. Her bad back really bothers her. All right, yeah. Victim of the incident, picture book author of unknown age, Larry's teacher. Iris, the defendant, nun from Hazakura, doesn't seem to have any spiritual power. And then Larry Butts. Don't remember how we became friends. All right, here we go. And so it begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney. Didn't they make a bunch of spin-off games with you? Are you a prosecutor in the spin-off games, or is this a lie? Alright. Witness, state your name and occupation, please. Hold on here, I'm not sure about being not sure if I care for this at all. Witness, please stand up nice and straight. If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for our back pain-plagued witness. Why are there milk crates in the lobby? Bailiff, fetch a crate for this poor lady, please. Alright, that's a funny start. Once again, your name and occupation, please. Little old me, well, I'm the head nun of the Hazakura Temple on Eagle Mountain. My name is Bikini. You got it? Bikini. Nice to meet everyone. But you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now. Well, his name is Judge, and he's wearing a judge outfit, so I guess that would confuse him, wouldn't it? The courtroom is the garden of holy judgment. Those with lechery in their hearts should leave the sanctuary at once. You want me to leave? Did Von Karma just tell the judge not to be horny on main? Is that the equivalent of what just happened here? No need to get your bikinis in a twist, let me tell you. I'm a sight to behold in summer. Ha 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 ha. In any case, witness, I hear that you saw the crime take place on the night in question. That's right. I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. There's no way dear little Iris could do anything like that. Let us hear what you have to say, then. First, tell us about your own movements that night, eh? The night of the murder. All right, here we go. That night I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, that's Maya. But, well, as you can see, my back like stacked up violently. So I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long hot soak. It was after I'd finished, just as I was heading back, that's when I saw it. So it was simply coincidence that you found yourself returning to Hazakura Temple. Yes, you could say that. If my back hadn't been in so much pain, I would have stayed at the inner temple. That sounds like a pretty important statement she just made. There's only one problem with this testimony that I can see. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle, now are you, Miles Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth, please begin your cross-examination. All right, let's hit it. Hold it! I think Edgeworth has the best voice actor in the game, by the way. What is this inner temple? Well, see, conversing with the spirits is what we train people to do, right? We'll be the ones asking you the questions, madam. In order to do that, a place strong in spiritual power is required. There's a small temple across Dusky Bridge called the Inner Temple. Acolytes must spend an entire night there to undergo intense training. And how exactly do you help with this process? It's all quite exacting. It can't be performed without a nun supervising. Like a tutor watching to make sure a spoiled child studies. Tutor with a whip in your case. If that is the case, then why did you return to Hazakura Temple where the murder took place? Get back like stack up. Act upwards. Violently. That's right, it's no laughing matter, especially in winter. Can't hold anything heavier than a knife and fork during the cold months. Just being alive is like strict training. Ha 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 ha. On the night of the murder, was this fabulous back of yours hurting again? That's right, raging like a bull in a pig pen. I almost fainted once or twice. I just knew that unless I warmed it up, it was gonna finally finish me off. So I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. All right. You left Iris to help with what? What do you think? The acolyte's training, of course. It was just past 10 p.m., so we were starting to enter into the training exercises proper. Wasn't it your place to remain with the disciple? Well, the job is simply to watch over the acolyte so that they don't pass away. Just to confirm this point again, that night, you met Iris in the inner temple, correct? Yes, she's a gentle, honest girl. She's never once failed to follow my directions. Didn't we have evidence that said that Iris, like, stayed? Rang the lights out bell at 10 p.m. and was then in her room until the murder was discovered. Okay, yeah, so she couldn't have, you said this was after, wait a minute, let's finish doing the other hold it. So you returned to the Hazakura Temple in order to take a bath. My back is to blame for everything. It's a do or be done in kind of world after all. How long were you in the bath for, if you don't mind me asking? My, what a filthy little rogue you are. I know what's on your mind. I bet your next question is gonna be, where exactly did you die? This is why you have to watch the young ones. What are you going on about? I was, Pathetic, Miles Edgeworth. The lowest of the low. Is there some sort of kick me sign stuck to the defense's bench? Anyway, I couldn't afford to be away from my post for too long, you understand, so... It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back, that's when I saw it. The crime took place in the courtyard, correct? When you go from my room to the main hall, you have to take a winding hallway from which you can see the courtyard. That's right. In other words, it was pure coincidence that the witness saw the crime taking place before her eyes. There was no complicated setup in this case. That certainly seems to be true. There is indeed only one problem with the testimony. If I can clearly point out what it is, then I can begin to quantify just how good this witness's memory and observation skills are. Okay, so I think it's gonna be... I left Iris to help the acolyte and return to the temple. All right, hit me with this again. You left Iris to help, yada yada, the acolyte's training. It was just past 10 p.m. Not according to Iris. All right, shut up. Left Iris to help the acolyte. Wrong. Iris, you said that was after 10 o'clock. Iris was in her room from 10 on.
Objection!
Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all. Well. Don't worry, I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all, the head honcho of Hazakura Temple. In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like you to explain something for me. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant, Iris. She claims that after ringing the lights out bell, she went back and stayed in her room. Which means she did not go to the inner temple at all. No, she said that. A defendant or a witness? Who's more likely to lie, do you suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her back.
Objection!
But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi. That's actually genius. But that is odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe that she would lie. She does indeed have honest eyes. Ugh! All people lie, that is my belief. Why am I the only one being whipped in here? Edgeworth literally got whipped like 2 minutes ago. Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie, which means we must call your memory into question. Dear. You're older than me and yet you want to play that game, do ya? Well, that isn't exactly what pulling on my judge collar, ooh. My memory is perfect, crystal clear, especially in winter. Okay, so it looks like our whole thing here is we just need to catch her on discrepancies to, like, show that she doesn't remember stuff well. So maybe not necessarily, like, evidence that proves, like, Iris is innocent or whatever. We just want to discredit this witness. And I guess we want to do that because Edgeworth wants to pull Larry to the stand? Then I suppose it's too early to end this cross-examination, eh? Mr. Edgeworth, if you're going to question the memory of this witness, you will need to show me a more decisive piece of evidence. Understood, Your Honor. I was naive to think that alone would do the trick. Then please add your comments about a boot. Oh, because he's Canadian. Iris to the testimony and let us return to the cross-examination. Okay, so whatever she's adding here is probably what I need. That night I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple. It's same dialogue, back as same. Iris came to the inner temple. She was dressed exactly as she had been at dinner. This is new. Are you sure that you're not making a mistake? You, young man, need to get your estimation of me up from the floor. Iris always wears the same clothes. The smallest thing out of place would have stood out like a sore thumb to me. Okay, this is very obvious. It's got to be like Iris's hood. You're making a mistake, thinking I made a mistake. An excellent finish there, witness. Still, I have to wonder. Yeah, they mentioned Iris's clothes way too many times. Received before lights out bell at the end of the night. Okay, so that means if this was before the bell, it was right before the murder, which means at dinner, she would have been wearing this hood.
Objection!
Easy. Yo, Wolfen, what's up? Welcome to stream. Canadia, am I right? Dude, I know, right? Canadia. Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant whom you claim to have met, she was wearing this demon warding hood, correct? Of course, that's a very important piece of clothing, I'll have you know. Ha. Wait a minute.
Objection!
Hold it right there. Why do you have that? That's the question of the day now, isn't it, Miss Von Karma? I'll have you know that this hood was given to someone as a gift that night, before the lights out bell was rung. What? You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claims, then the Iris she saw would have been missing this very hood. Well. She's on a bunch of crates. It's not a bad feeling at all, exposing contradictions like this. Now I understand that happy look on Wright's face every time he does it. Order! Order in the court! Witness your rebu! Sister, this hood, you have spare ones around the temple, don't you? Spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them. I see, a stockpile. A surplus of hoods, eh? Each nun is only given one hood. This should be the only hood that Iris owned. Then this is quite strange. Oh! If there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There's no contradiction here. Sorry to break this to you, Miss Von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human heart. The seeds of doubt. Witness! While I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt, you must give every detail with precision. I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath on your way back to the inner temple. Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. What is this analogy? Contradictory stimulation. After my bath. Finished my bath around 11, and I thought I should return to the inner temple. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look, and Iris was, Mystic Elise, and with that sword of all things. Mystic Elise was staying in the corner room, which faces onto the courtyard. Stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window. You saw a truly terrible sight, didn't you? If I was in your place, then it would be much like Miss Von Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth in two in court. And me seeing it all from this very chair. Well, something like that. This judge, his imagination is about as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe's. Don't be hating on my boy Gumshoe. Don't you dare. If you start hating on Gumshoe again, Edgeworth, I will find you, and I will make you pay. Just a second. Sorry, I had to click to something. His imagination is about as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe. I would look the fool if I commented on such foolishness. I was going to say commended. Anyway, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth. Calling everyone by their full name. Can't you do something about that habit of yours? Cross-examination. Finished my bath around 11. Thought I should return to the inner temple. This is like an hour after lights out. How far is it from your room to the inner temple? Let me think a moment. About 20 minutes on these stumps of mine. It's about 15 minutes to Dusky Bridge from Hazakura Temple. The inner temple is just beyond the bridge. Still, you never made it back there that night, did you? That's right. I was heading along the walkway toward the main hall. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I'd take a look and... You said you heard a noise. Thump, just like that. That could only be the sound of the victim falling. It's very quiet in the temple, you know. You can even hear the snow falling from the branches. Thump, just like that. But then couldn't this noise you heard have been snow falling to the ground? I never thought of that. Ha 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 ha. Ho 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 ho. Ah! Next one to laugh gets a whipping. Well, whatever the source of the sound, I looked over at the courtyard and... Iris was, Mystic Elise, and with that sword of all things. This is the second time that the witness has testified to seeing the defendant. But some doubt remains in these claims. Hey, just what does that mean? Just because you're a good-looking young man doesn't give you the right to... The murderer who stabbed the victim with the sword. Sister Bikini, try to recall exactly who it was you saw as clearly as you can. I wonder if it was just Dahlia pretending to be Iris because they have the same face. Well, you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. Oh, now that you mention it, there was something awfully strange about her. Something that's been bugging me all this time. Please don't keep us in suspense. Her hood. Her hood. That's right, it's coming back to me. Iris, she wasn't wearing her hood. I thought something was out of place, but it all makes sense now, doesn't it? After all, she'd given that hood away to someone, right? Ugh. Ha! You've dug your own grave, Miles Edgeworth. What do you say, Mr. Edgeworth? Is this testimony important? Yeah, sure. This may initially appear to put me at a disadvantage, but I can't see any other leads at the moment. Your Honor, I would like these new statements to be added to the testimony. Ha! Miles Edgeworth, if you want to hang yourself, you need only ask. I'll gladly lend you my whip. Witness, add that statement to your testimony. No problem. Now that you mention it, Iris didn't have her hood on. You're sure about that? Yes, after all, we always wear the same clothes. I don't mean because we're poor, you understand. It's our style. Yes, that's it. Like, how much money are you making, though? Like, to be honest. There's absolutely no need to explain yourself. Anyway, she looked different from normal, so that really stuck out. Like me holding a whippet puppy. A whippet puppy? Instead of my whip. What is a whippet puppy? At least then it might bite you and not someone else. It's just a type of dog? Iris didn't have her hood on, I'm sure of it. Very well. Now please tell us about the victim. Hold it! The room the victim was staying in overlooked the courtyard, correct? Which means the victim's room was on the 2nd floor. No, Hazakura Temple is a single-story building, but the mountain itself slopes downward, which elevates the main gate side of the temple and the guest rooms in the back to about the height of a 2-story building. I see, and the victim was staying in one of these elevated rooms, correct? Yes, I should know. I'm the one who carried her things to her room after all. Whippet puppy is like a greyhound? Ah. Hold it. What makes you so sure of all this? It's just like I told you earlier, I heard a noise from the courtyard, okay? Thump, just like that. You're one smart sister, I'll give you that. The autopsy report states that the victim's body was covered in bruises, indicating a fall from around 10 feet in height. It appears that the witness was not mistaken then. Yep, I'm more than just a pretty face, especially in winter. I'm a woman of faith after all, the head honcho, yada yada. There's only 2 of them working there. What's wrong, Miles Edgeworth? No snappy comeback remark? Doesn't feel like she's lying. This is a very powerful testimony, too. She claims to have seen the instant in which the defendant stabbed the victim. There are only 2 things I can believe in right now. My client Iris and my own abilities as a defense attorney. So, am I supposed to get her on something with the hood again? Because I added this testimony? Proceed before lights out bell. Night of the crime protects from evil spirits. It's the blackmail. It's the map of the temple. The weather report. I don't see how the weather report would really help me. The snow and the lightning stopped by the time she found them because it was around 11. Alright. Anything in this? Both wearing the hood in this. Okay. It's Elise. Rang lights out bell at 10 and was then in a room until the murder was discovered. Loss of blood from stab in the back. Body fell 10 feet after death. Courtroom. But the statue is holding the sword. The autopsy says that she was stabbed first? Because her body fell after the stab? She died from being stabbed, and then her body fell. But you said that you saw her stab her, though, didn't you? Stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window. Impossible? Objection. Literally impossible. Impressive logic. That's what I'd like to say anyway. Ah, please do. My brain is something else, especially in winter. However, I think you're overlooking one thing. Please, 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 please have Franziska hit Edgeworth with an updated autopsy report. Please have Franziska use an updated autopsy report. It would be so funny. I would lose it. Miss Von Karma, would you be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy report? The autopsy report? Yes, you see, Franziska. I've just updated it. The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed. Ah! That's right. It says after death right here. I can read. The scene the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard, how'd the victim then go on to take a 10-foot fall? Ah! Order! Order! The victim was killed and then fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room. Don't you agree? That is the logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room. And she was then thrown out of her window down into the courtyard below. Were there any signs of a struggle in Miss Denham's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would leave a blood stain, wouldn't you agree? Well, Miss Von Karma, was there any blood? Ah! No traces of blood were found in the victim's room. Your whip has just caused traces of blood to be found on my glorious playoff beard. However, if there was no blood in the room, it's a clay. I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure your honor is well aware of when a stab wound produces the most blood. When it produces the most blood. Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, it's when you pull it out. That would be when the blade is removed. Yeah, makes sense. Indeed, with the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound. That's true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfectly reasonable line of thinking. We have come to a conclusion then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all of the contradictions. Order! 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 I need some Tim Hortons. Must admit that this is a probable version of events. I'd expect no less from Franziska von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point. Huh. It seems that we need a clearer testimony from the witness. Remove all supposition on your part and tell us only the facts, please. Witness, please! Remain standing on the crate. Don't go selling me short now. Did the little, like, meerkat pop up? The weight of winter snow has bent me out of shape, especially my back and my mood. Sister, please give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here. With the whip? Oh, boy, all right, all right. Hit me, hit me. Further details. When I looked across at the scene, the sword was already in place. Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mystic Elise. Can we have one Ace Attorney game where a witness doesn't commit perjury? I've never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can ya? And when I awoke, Mystic Ami was stabbing Mystic Elise through the back. This all confirms Miss Von Karma's theory. Von Karma strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. You should know that, Miles Edgeworth. Perfection is an impossibility, Franziska von Karma. And I'm here to teach you just that. Further details. Alright, hit me. Hold it! At that time, was the victim bleeding? Well, I was very shocked to be seeing all this, of course, so I'm not entirely sure. I don't think I saw any blood, not then. I'm sure that you didn't. The weapon was acting as a plug in the wounds. You should have still seen some blood, though. In any case, let's be clear on one very important point. Did you actually see the instant in which the victim was stabbed? Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mystic Elise. Think carefully, this is very important. It's Iris we're talking about here, I'm thinking for all I'm worth. Nah, when I looked over, the sword was already in Mystic Elise's body. Might not be conclusive, but this testimony supports her theory. The victim was stabbed in her room and then dropped in the courtyard. I think this proves it rather well, Miles Edgeworth. She does say full names all the time. You shouldn't have seen that much blood because it was a plug. So you're saying that you saw the victim's blood? That's right, some of it had splattered onto Iris too. Then the defendant was arrested. When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room. And her blood-flecked clothing was neatly folded in the corner. What? Her clothes were blood-flecked as well? That seems quite conclusive to me. What should I do? Press further? Well, press further because there shouldn't be that much blood for her to see, right? We just talked about that? Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw little bleeding when the victim was stabbed. But now you say you saw the victim bleeding? Well, well, I say that what I saw is what I saw. What did you see? Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed, but I saw the girl pull the sword out of her plain as day. Pulling the sword out? Well, it wasn't exactly pulling, it was more like it came out. Witness, you'll add this statement to your testimony. All right, I'm gonna catch her on something here. Oh, is that important? More important than you can imagine. It's how I'm gonna ruin you. Saw the instant in which the blade plunged into the hilt was smoothly drawn out. Plunged into the hilt? Nah, dog. Nah. That thing is not into the hilt. I honestly just want to hit present without even doing a hold it, but let's do our due diligence. Smoothly, you saying? You're saying you saw the sword smoothly slide out? That's right. The whole thing happened right next to the gold statue of Mystic Ami. Mystic Elise was on the ground and Iris was stooped over her. Sword was buried up to the hilt. When Iris stood up, the sword in her hand just slid out of Mystic Elise's body. It slid out from that gaping wound, Goes without saying that if the sword was removed, there would be bleeding. Nothing out of place here. Is that really the case? Can't help but feel that something about this testimony is very out of place. Something which couldn't possibly have happened appears to have happened. Should I show the Shishishito here because it only has blood on the tip? Or should I show the crime photo because it shows how deep in it? The thing is that I'm not sure the crime photo actually disproves it, right? Because, like, from what they're saying, the sword went all the way in and then she pulled it out, but then it ended up in the statue's hands. She could have just put it back into the tip like that at that point. But I think I should present the Shishishito because it clearly only has blood on the tip. Yeah, I'm smart. I'm smart. Sister Bikini, you're a reliable witness. At least I'd like to think so, but there are too many contradictions here. What do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar. But you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. What contradictions are you talking about? In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust up to its hilt into the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities. Oh, is it because the way the sword has the branches, is it impossible for a clean removal? Ah! I was glancing at chat and I couldn't read that because Franziska skips dialogue a lot, which I hate. Explain yourself. To start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how I look at the defendant, she doesn't appear strong enough for that. Doesn't appear? What meaningless dribble. I, too, may appear to be weak and frail, but I can crush men under my heel and make them weep should I so choose. Yeah, there are a lot of dudes who are into that. The objection stands. I wept a little back there, I must admit. That isn't the only issue here. If this sword was truly stabbed into the body up to the hilt, well, just look at all the branches on it. It certainly wouldn't come out smoothly. We also have the problem of the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in a body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The wound would be too large for the blade to completely stop the bleeding. That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with the Shishishito. Even a weapon of this nature may still sometimes slide out smoothly and may still sometimes stop the blood loss. I'm not finished. Okay, are you finally going to get to the actual part that matters, which is that only the tip has blood on it? There's still one more conclusive contradiction. You've still got more! This one is simple. If this sword really was thrust in all the way to the hilt, why is there only blood on the tip of it? Ah! If this witness is telling the truth, then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword. No! Order! Order! Ah! Bravo, Miles Edgeworth. Raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could maybe manage one if that. But what does this all mean? You've proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but having come this far, there can only be one answer. And that is, the weapon used to kill the victim was not the Shishishito. Oh! What? A foolishly foolish idea born from the foolish mind of a foolhardy foolish fool! Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think the sword was the murder weapon? Well, it's because Mystic Ami was holding it. Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, that is the only basis we have to assume such a thing. The impression left by the scene was just too strong. That is what influenced us. Why'd I say influence so weird? It influenced us to believe that the Shishishito was the murder weapon. Order! Order! Ah! So maybe the Shishishito was not the murder weapon. Even if that is the case, it changes nothing, Miles Edgeworth. The sister here saw everything. She saw the defendant stab the victim with a sword-like object. That's true. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth? If that is so, I'd like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it raises. The obvious question? Yes, namely, where'd the real murder weapon disappear to? It goes without saying that the police searched the main hall and the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to if a sword-like object was found. I can read. Answer the question, Miss Von Karma. No evidence of that kind was found. Another mystery to throw onto the pile. A trial without a murder weapon is a tricky beast. Excuse me, could I say something? I just remembered something, actually. What is it, sister? I was just thinking it's possible that just maybe what actually happened was it was just over there. What exactly are you going on about here? The murder weapon, I mean. Maybe. I think I might know where the sword was disposed of. You what? Oh, was it thrown into the river? Well then, I think we need to hear testimony from you one more time, sister. Impossible. What else? What else could this old woman have seen? Location of the weapon. Saw the murder at around 11 p.m., and after asking that it be reported, I went out to the main gate, and there I saw tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. Takes 15 minutes to walk to Dusky Bridge, but less than 5 using one of those. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile after all. Witness, please tell us everything you know right away next time. Well, I'm not in the best of shape, what with my back and my age, you know. Quite. There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here's a photograph. Snowmobile, eh? I see. Well, it certainly is an interesting theory. A game theory. The tracks begin in front of Hazakura Temple and run all the way to Dusky Bridge. Alright. That solves your pesky little problem, yeah? The Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning that it doesn't freeze over in winter, making it the perfect place to dispose of the murder weapon. Did she really go to the river to dispose of the murder weapon? Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please. Cross-exam.
Hold it!
You're sure about the time? Yes, I was worried about it after all. Why was that? Because I have a strong sense of responsibility, especially at this time of year. The acolyte was being doused in freezing water at the time. Couldn't very well take it easy in the bath all night, now could I? So at 11, I decided to leave Hazakura Temple. Her estimation of the time seems reliable, at least. Please continue, sister. You asked Phoenix Wright to report the crime, correct? Right, the one who trampled me. Seems she's the type to hold a grudge. There isn't a phone in the main hall, so I sent him to the bridge. Phoenix Wright, he didn't even have his cell phone on him. He had forgotten it at home, apparently. What a loser. What a naive boy, as always. Not only do I always carry my phone, but I always have my whip in hand, too. Anyway, I was really scared, and it was taking him a while to get back, so I thought I'd go out by the main gate for a spell. There I saw tracks, yada yada. Hold it! As I recall, there was a snowmobile outside the main gate when I visited. Yep, there it is. That's it, that's the only one we have. It'll run no matter how much snow falls. Now, you're certain the snowmobile was there at the main gate when you arrived? Yes, of course, it was parked in front of the gate. So she had already gone, discarded the murder weapon, and returned by that time. I'm not sure if this is really relevant. What should I do? Press further? Always. I need answers to every possible doubt. Snowmobile in question, was it still warm at that time? Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean, eh? What do you mean, Miles Edgeworth? I'm playing to a slow crowd here. Goes without saying that using a snowmobile will heat its engine. If it was still warm, that means it was recently used. Ah, I see, I never thought of that. That's right, I overlooked that too. Of course you did. Then answer the question, please, witness. I don't often go around touching hot engines. However, now that you mention it, there wasn't any snow on it. Snow? Yes, for some reason, only the snowmobile wasn't covered in snow. There wasn't any snow on it? Curses. Seems highly likely the killer did use the snowmobile then, eh? How long does it take to get to Dusky Bridge by snowmobile? Takes 15 minutes to walk, but less than 5 using one of those. In that case, why didn't you use it yourself? You could have spared yourself some walking. Ah, there's a reason for that. Have we got a moment for me to explain? I think that's why the question was asked in the first place. It was about a month ago. I was driving my beloved little snowmobile, happy as can be. I'd fetched some water and was heading back when I went and crashed into a tree. The tree and my back both went crunch, just like that. Crunch. I love a crunch bar. Haven't been able to find the courage to write anything since then. Anyway, the killer must have used it. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back when I was knocked out. Refresh our memory, how long were you knocked out for? Like I said, somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes. It's possible to get to the bridge and back in 10 minutes using the snowmobile. I have to concede that's more than enough time. Is that all you wish to concede, Miles Edgeworth? Hold it! While it would have been possible time-wise, one element remains out of place here. And what would this mystery element be? The killer's reasoning, Your Honor. Why did the killer do all of this? Why go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon when there are other methods? Too many unanswered questions. Your response, Miss Von Karma? Ah! Turning to me for help over the slightest thing. Why don't you think for yourself once in a while, Your Honor? What? She's as over the top as always. Anyway, whatever the reason, the fact remains that the defendant could have done this. The murder weapon was disposed of in the river. Another point to me, Miles Edgeworth. Another mystery to feed the fire. Was there any reason to go and throw away the murder weapon? Luckily, there is surely a problem with this testimony. Now all I have to do is start poking holes in these flawed accounts. Saw the murder, went to the main gate, I saw tracks indicate a snowmobile had been used, takes 15 minutes to walk, less than 5. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle. You said that it takes 10 minutes. I don't think I have anything that says that you said it takes 10 minutes, though. You say that later in the testimony. Bum, 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 bum. So with occasional lightning, yada yada. Okay, okay. Alright. I'm not seeing anything here, really. I don't really know what they want from me here. Is there anything that just looks wrong here? Snowmobile, no snow on it. Hold it! As I recall, there's a snowmobile, yada yada. So when we have, it'll run no matter how much snow. You certain was the main gate. It's parked. She'd already gone. Discarded a murder weapon and returned. I'm really not sure if this is relevant. What should I do? Stop here? Looks very likely the snowmobile is related to the case. Can't help but think that Iris used it, but for what? Better hold off on this for now. Well then, witness, how long does it take to reach?
Hold it!
Hold it! Choose yourself. Just better do some walking. I mean, this seems pointless. Yeah. It's like a funny story they put in sometimes.
Hold it!
How long were you knocked out? 10 to 20. It's supposed to be back in 10 minutes. Oh, okay. I misunderstood this earlier. It takes 5 minutes to get there by snowmobile, so if she was knocked out for 10 minutes, then that's enough time. Bum, 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 no, no.
Hold it!
One element remains out of place. Huh. Was there any reason to go and throw away the weapon? Luckily, there's surely a problem with the testimony, yada yada. I don't want to get stuck on this because I want to be able to finish the game today, and we're already coming up on an hour, and we're still in the first like section. Chat, what am I supposed to be looking for here? What am I missing? Because I don't see anything wrong with this testimony. Bum, bum, bum. You don't want to have a hint or a tip they can give me? It is on the knocked out? Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. What contradicts this? Wasn't the bridge destroyed? The bridge was on fire, but that doesn't matter. You don't have to go on the bridge to throw a sword into a river. I have no idea what evidence I'm supposed to present here. Am I supposed to present a profile? Chet, I have no idea what I'm looking for here. What am I looking for? I'm like stumped on this one, and I don't want to sit on it. What am I supposed to present? I could just start hitting triangle randomly. Save the game and then fake it till we make it. What is the most likely evidence out of what I have to make a difference here? Lights out bell, photo of Elise. Weather data. The weather data, maybe? Potentially that. Sorry, I was yawning. I have no idea. The temple map? Nope, music didn't stop. Statement contradicts the data. It does. How do you mean? Forgive me, Your Honor, but you just said it yourself that it does. Don't try to play mind games with me. I didn't need that health anyway. Curses appears I've yet to just being on this side of the courtroom. Well, not that. That one, the picture appears weird. What picture? The tracks photo? How? It is this. Why? I admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder. You finally accepted the inevitable, it seems, Miles Edgeworth. However, if what the witness says is true, then why is there only one set of tracks? What do you mean? Iris left Hazakura Temple, threw the weapon into the river, and then returns. If this was the case, then naturally there should be two sets of tracks in the snow. Those from heading out to the bridge and those from coming back. Wouldn't you just, like... Wouldn't you just drive in the one, like, drive in the tracks you already made? There doesn't necessarily... this is super faulty in my eyes. Well, actually, I guess with the positioning of how she drove it up and parked it there, unless when she started driving it, it was flipped the other way, then it wouldn't work. But you could just drive in the tracks that you already made. Ah, you're right. You're forgetting one thing, Miles Edgeworth. On the night of the murder, it was snowing. The tracks leading to the bridge were erased by the snowfall. This removes your precious contradiction now, doesn't it? I see. While she was at the river, the snow stopped, leaving just the return tracks in the snow. What do you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth? Is there a flaw in her theory? This idea that the snowfall covered one set of tracks? I think there's a flaw in the theory that there has to be two sets of tracks, but there's got to be something wrong. Probably the weather report. Tracks to the river were covered by snow. What a nice theory. However, Miss Von Karma, that's impossible. Would you care to explain why there is a rude index finger currently pointed in my general direction? No need. The evidence will do all the talking for me. On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge in order to dispose of the murder weapon. The outgoing tracks were erased by snow. Or so claims Miss Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth, present your evidence to the contrary, Let me save real quick. Evidence that the outgoing tracks were not covered by snow. Presumably the weather data, right? 7 to 10:50. Does that contradict, like, the murder time? I think it's got to. Okay, the music did stop. I thought I was wrong for a second. Witness, please tell us again what time it was when you witnessed the crime. Like I said, it was around 11. Okay, good, after the snow stopped. Of course, this means that the weapon was thrown away after that time, correct? On that note, please take a look at this data. It's the weather report for Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder. The weather report? Snow started to fall at 7, but it stopped at around 10:50. Therefore, when the sister witnessed the crime at 11, the snow had already stopped falling. It's impossible for any tracks made after that time to have been covered up. Ah! Got her. Order! Order! Very well then, it looks like Miss Von Karma's claim has been snowed in. Ah! Too soon to be closing this trial due to snow. Miles Edgeworth, how pathetic of you to rely on the weather of all things. Answer me this then. When is a weather report ever correct? No, you've got it all wrong. This isn't a forecast, this is actual data. Ah! Forecast data, all weather reports have some inaccuracies. What are you talking about? It may have still been snowing in the vicinity well past 11. It's true, we cannot be totally sure. What? How'd she pull that off? This judge is a moron. It had stopped snowing at Hazakura Temple when the murder took place. You need to provide conclusive evidence of this. Come this far, there's no turning back now. Very well, I too cannot allow any doubt to remain concerning this testimony. Ha! You can't back down, can you? Such a perfectionist, Miles Edgeworth. Very well then, Mr. Edgeworth. Where is your evidence that it had already stopped snowing when the victim was killed? Well, if it was snowing when she was dead, there would be snow on her right here, right? Look at how everything else but her has snow on it. That's just a photo that Larry took. It can't be the weather data because they already said that that doesn't work here. It can't be this. Can't be the note. Yeah, I think that the crime photo here is all that I have. She doesn't have snow on her.
Take that!
Take that! You gotta stop faking me out on the music not stopping game. It's freaking me out, man. I'm not the only one that doesn't vibe with the new judge, right? I prefer the other judge by far, yeah. Ultimately, it all comes down to one point. That being whether or not it was snowing in that courtyard when the victim was stabbed. That's right, but proving that is incredibly easy. If we want to know whether it was snowing or not, this photo will tell us everything. Of course, I'm referring to the photo of the crime scene. As you can see, everything is covered with snow, with just one exception. And that is the victim herself, Miss Elise. Why is there no snow on top of her? The answer is simple. It had stopped snowing when she was killed. That's why. Ah. In other words, if the killer really did go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon, then in this photograph there should be 2 sets of tracks! Ah! Order! Order! Just what are you? Ah! Just what are you suggesting, Miles Edgeworth? To be honest, I'm not entirely sure myself, but this is simply what all the facts point to. That night, someone used the snowmobile to leave Hazakura Temple. From the tracks left, it can be understood that they were heading for Dusky Bridge. At that time, it was still snowing. Of course it was, because those tracks were erased by the snow. Then, when this person returned to Hazakura Temple, the snow had stopped. Thus, the return tracks remained. Can I say something? This all sounds a bit fishy to me. What does, sister? There is only one key for the snowmobile. Furthermore, on the night in question, we know that the defendant had it. The key was found in her room after the murder. Which can only mean that night, Iris used the snowmobile to go to the inner temple. But Iris said that she never went there. I should probably press on this point some more when I get the chance. Okay. The snowmobile can't cross the suspension bridge, so she must have left it on the Hazakura side of the bridge and crossed on foot. That sounds right. But what's odd is, when I left Iris and returned to Hazakura Temple, I didn't see anything near Dusky Bridge. You must have just failed to see it, sister. Maybe, but when I made it back to Hazakura Temple, it was there by the main gate, the snowmobile, I mean. I know what I saw. It was covered in snow too. Did Larry use the snowmobile? Chaos, have you seen the skull version of Siegemon that was teed by Time Stranger? But that is impossible! I didn't realize they were gonna auto-cycle that dialogue. Yeah, I did. I even tweeted about it on Twitter. Sorry, X. Order in the court! What does this all mean? Nah. So then what was the snowmobile used for? It wasn't taken by the defendant when she went to the inner temple. If it had been, then the witness couldn't possibly have seen it by the gate. Furthermore, it wasn't used by the killer to dispose of the murder weapon. If that was the case, there should be 2 sets of tracks in this photo. All we know is this. After it stopped snowing, someone used the snowmobile to return to Hazakura Temple. Never thought a simple snowmobile could cause so much trouble. I think we've learned all we can from this witness. Yes, I've got nothing more to add. Told you everything that I know. But then, that still leaves us with the same problem. If only there was someone, a witness who could testify to having seen the snowmobile. A witness, huh? Was there no one out walking perhaps near Dusky Bridge on that night? This is how we get Larry on the stand. I don't think that's likely. It was cold enough to freeze your ears off. Only an idiot would go out wandering in that. Ah, it's Larry! Unless they had something really important to do. That's a shame. Hold on, something is coming to me. An idiot may well have gone wandering out on that subarctic night. Your Honor, actually, there just might be an individual who maybe have helped us. Really? You know of someone who might have seen the snowmobile on the night of the murder? I don't know for sure if he saw it or not, but there are 2 things about him that do come to mind. Which are, first, that he saw something incredible on the night of the murder. And the second being, this individual I'm thinking of went wandering outside on that cold night. In other words, he's our kind of idiot. Mr. Edgeworth, who's this idiot you're talking about? It's the lad himself. This guy must be a product of Jean-Luc Laduc's Guide to Obnoxious French Painting. This is Larry Butts, a disciple of the victim Elise. Her student, interesting. Why was he wandering about outside the night of the murder? I can't read. I could tell them all about his designs for Iris, but it may cost us his credibility as a witness before I even call him. He is, after all, an artist. He was perhaps searching for something in the snowy scenery that would move him. Although I cannot guarantee that this is the reason. And so, this unfortunate, unreliable-looking man, what exactly is it that he saw? I intend to extract that from him right here in this courtroom. Summon this youth as a witness immediately. I have no choice, do I? I believe he's in the gallery for this trial. It will not take long to summon him. Very well. Larry, you may have escaped me yesterday, but today I'm gonna get everything out of you. The court will now adjourn for a 20-minute break. Miss Von Karma, please see to preparing the next witness. Understood, Your Honor. Good. Well then, court is now in recess. Is this a to be continued? All right. Took about an hour, but we got through one.